and welcome to the Big T Show. I am Big T, and we are back. A little technical difficulties, but it ain't going to stop us because we have a special guest this week coming from, we're not going to disclose that. We're just going to stick with Rocko to start off with. And, nothing more than that because Rocko, he has a lot going on, and we don't want – listen, we'll keep it at that. We have a lot to get into. Right, Rocko?
Oh, absolutely. For sure.
How's the week? How's your week going? I know it's only Tuesday, the past week.
Well, I was abducted about the night before last. I remember the complete, almost complete abduction. I was taken to a mothership. I was strapped down. And there were 6 short grays with long arms, oval-shaped eyes surrounding me. And there was also military personnel present at that given moment. Now, whether this was an implanted abduction, it didn't feel like that to me because when I woke up at 3 a.m., my ears literally felt like I was even higher. You know what I mean? Like I'm not exaggerating. Like they just popped. And I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep. I had the worst anxiety ever. I was pacing back and forth in my home. It was this. And the worst thing is about all of this is they go after your kids too. And I had a friend, and I'm not going to say his name, but I showed him pictures of marks that I woke up with, didn't realize till 9 a.m. after this abduction. There are 2 holes, and what happened was before they were holes, they were scabbed over, and it was bright red. And I saw it at 9 a.m. in the morning, and I was just in total panic mode. I freaked out. Eventually what I've learned as that I've been dealing with this for so long, but I haven't had an encounter like that in I'd say about 2 years. I'd say close to. I've had encounters. I've seen UFOs. I've seen objects in the sky. I've felt energy. It's kind of like an electrical feeling going through your body. These beings are very, 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 very intelligent. Very intelligent. And if they see something that they want, and that could be your DNA, goes with genetics, they go after people like that, or they go after people that have a military background for some reason, because years ago, I'm not going to quote the name, I actually, with all this stuff going on this week, I've kind of tried to separate myself from this. I was on a show last night and basically told 2 people to go off, and they're not worthy of even looking at my pictures. And I literally broke down because this will bring every emotion out of your body when you see an extraterrestrial being, or you even come in contact closely with one. You're going to know. But every emotion in your body might come out, and people have flipped out and ended up putting a gun in their mouth, and that was it. That was it. They couldn't live with themselves anymore. And also people that like myself, where you get out there and you speak and people want to pick at you and pick at you and pick at you, but they never lived with you. They never really got to know you. They didn't know your childhood. They didn't know you went to school on an air base, preschool and kindergarten. They didn't know you were drugged, labeled, and basically put on a shelf kind of thing. Like you were nothing but an object in these MK Ultra programs. And there's generational ones, generational twos. Usually it skips a generation. My father was born at Fort Benning, and that's a base. And my grandfather was Air Force and military. I've had military throughout my whole family, and my father never got the brunt of it. I think what happened is I was his first son ever, his only son, and I feel like something was going on with him, because at 3 years old, my mom was telling me about the abductions that are not even abductions, just they'd be in the room, and I was very young, and I'd be in the middle of the bed and they'd be looking at me, and she would not be able to comprehend anything that they were saying. They telepathically speak. I don't particularly want to do that, but it seems like they want to connect with me, but I don't want to connect with them on that level. It's horrifying. It's living a duality. It's living a two-sided life. Like, if you work a job, you can't go into your job and say, "Oh, well, last night I was abducted by aliens." So, and then you look at, all of this stuff, and, they're more concerned about, the American flag and this and that. And then the Pentagon says they're going to put something out, and then they never do. Aliens don't exist. But how can we explain these, like, people back in like the 90s and whatnot, that were coming out and talking about this stuff and going to conferences, but then ending up dead aimlessly?
Yeah, that's why before, when you were saying people killing themselves, how do we know it wasn't the government? You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person's seen too much, know too much, and they easily make people disappear.
Well, yes, absolutely. I hear, on Long Island alone, where I originally am from, and when I woke up in 2014, I had no clue what Montauk even was until I started digging into what I woke up to. I guess, like, it goes by like age. I really, like, it was kind of scary. I woke up way too early because I kind of like pushed my way into it, like, and kept pushing because I wanted answers. But I think I invoked things. I think that I got involved with, the wrong people, and they were targeting me because all the information I talk about now, they don't like that at all. It's basically like you get reprimanded for it. They don't kill you, they reprimand you for it. It could be anything. I mean, these beings are powerful. Not only that, but then you got, other things that are going on. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, there's numerous accounts of people that have went to Camp Hero and have seen UFOs and have also seen, some people say 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall, and his name is Junior. And in the ending of the Montauk Project, which was about 82, I want to say, don't quote me on that. But yeah, it was it's a place where, that you talk about energy, T. It's a place, if you went there and just let your mind go wild, you would be able to energetically connect with all sources. I mean, first of all, it's still owned by the military, and that's the underground. But mind you, I've spoken with people that have blueprints of the base before, when they were about to build it, and there was no underground written in any of this, and they still go by there's no underground. But people have went there with, checking the meters and how deep, and they found a structure that went, I think it was like 9 something, like 9 foot into it was pretty deep. It was really deep. And the other thing is I look at Montauk as a very artificial place, because of everything that took place there, even, before I was there. Like the generation ones, they got it 20 times different than we did. A lot of them ended up in, institutions because they couldn't survive, because they were put through torture on a regular basis. And then some would just give up and, basically, break the law and, continue to break the law and get, go to prison and have a drug problem. And, that's not a good way of going about this. I went that route and I almost ended up in jail. I mean, like, for that, even though I've already been, incarcerated at one point. But I was always targeted by the police as a kid. Always. Always, always, always.
Do you think they
always.
do? Like, were you blackballed out in Long
Well,
Island?
what happened was, when you go through these programs, you have what they call handlers. And I remember, I'll tell you a story. In 1994, I was, 7 years old. And I remember being brought to Montauk with my dad's girlfriend. But come to find out, I believe that she was handling me because there was a gentleman that was involved in the Montauk Project that I have memory for some reason. It could be implanted, but it also could be true because I can remember this situation and I know exactly which bunker it is. And I didn't need directions to get to this bunker. It was just, I got there and I felt the energy and I had to literally walk away in the video. And as I was walking away, I was telling what happened and how, the schools, I mean, what better way is it? The schools could take kids to, once you sign a permission slip for your kid to go to a government facility, I'm sorry, but that's not happening with me. My kids are not going to a government facility, permission slip signed or not, because we all know that, there's darkness behind it all. There's darkness behind it all. Indoctrination, more worried about other things than exposing, pedophiles and all this stuff, aliens, and all this type paranormal stuff. Like, I like to investigate. I like to. That's one thing I do miss about Long Island, was there was so much to investigate. Like, Montauk alone, I could get lost. I mean, because
Well,
I
real quick,
connect
Rocko,
with the energy.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to, if for the people listening or who are going to be watching this, let's just fill them in a little. We're talking about the Montauk project, which I'm still learning about. Just through talking with you like once, just and then just hearing about it. You know what I mean? I heard about it. Let's fill the people in. What is the Montauk project? So they're on the same page with us. And also I only been to Montauk once last
Okay.
summer.
In the early, it was around the 70s when the German scientists came here, and it was the Paperclip Act, and they ended up in Montauk 70s because they were doing human experimentation at the Brookhaven National Laboratory in Long Island. And the Congress, I guess, didn't like the fact that they were doing that. So they told them they had to go. So what they did is they pitched a deal to Camp Hero. I believe in the 70s sometime, and it went into the 80s. But see, that, like I say, there's no time stamp. So, like, for instance, I'm 34, so they could, when I was younger, they could have took me and sent me back in time, which I've been told by other psychics that I have been sent back in time. I don't know if you could do it through the mind too. They could use the consciousness and or they could take your astral body, but what mainly with the Montauk project, it was scattered programs where they would take kids to an underground base, and see, Montauk was just the name of the program. It spread out in every major city and state. It became very big because they were making money, a lot of money, experimenting, pushing the child's mind further than needed.
What kind of experiments?
What?
What kind of experiments were they doing?
Mind control experiments where they would basically do near death drownings, bring you back, say that they're God and that they're going to help you and that they're going to do this for you and do that for you. And then they start the reprogramming process. So you go through a process. And when you go through that process, thousands and thousands of kids died. I always tell people, like a gentleman said in a movie, he calls himself James Bruce. It's called Montauk Chronicles. If you dug up Montauk, it would be like the catacombs in France. This is what this gentleman, says, that Montauk is definitely, there's a lot of kids that were buried there. And, it's unfortunate. There's no like hard factual evidence. You can't go, you can't, they don't, people will tell their stories, and, hopefully one day, that something will happen where, right now, it's funny, they're doing a lot of work there.
What do you mean work?
And I remember excavation and moving the lighthouse and doing this and moving this bunker, and the name of the bunker is called the Pillbox.
And real quick, Rocko, that's at the end towards like where that state park is. Like I said, I only went there last summer, and like you can see
It's not.
that energy.
It's not even really a state park. It's where the radar dish is. Is you're not even allowed beyond the point of that gate. But why? Why? In 2000, they came up on the news talking about they were going to clean the place up, but the military had to do one more study. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, what? Well, what's the study? You know what I mean? That makes you wonder. Okay, well, what's the study, and why is it so important that you got to do it at a defunct Air Force base that
Yeah, that's
really
strange.
technically doesn't look too defunct? That there are areas where you wonder if kids are getting dragged in there at nighttime. You know, you wonder. You can only wonder. Like, that's why I like to go, and I'm planning on, with a few different people, we're going to shoot a film about what happened with me and my experiences, and you know, with Montauk, and we're going to try to get some other people. It doesn't mean that I was taken there, you know, just because it might seem physical to me. I might not have physically been taken there.
So they might have taken you somewhere else. You think?
No, they could have messed. They could have conscious. They could have took my conscious. You know, that's that too. Once they split the mind and reprogram you and wire you, there's trigger codes. There's all different kinds of things. People talk about phone calls. People talk about, you know, they'll call and they'll say a certain number or a certain like code to them, and what happens is it sets off something in that person's brain because they've been programmed to do whatever it is that these people, these sickos, you know, really want. But they would grab up any innocent kids off the street,
And the,
and
is
just
this
take them
is
to the
this the
States and
government?
experiment on them.
Is this the government or aliens?
Well, I don't recall. I have no real recalls of like government in underground for some reason. So it could have been not. It could have been scientists, but like I said, there's no timestamp. So this could have happened in another parallel world or a parallel dimension. You know that this astral travel is rocky. You know, when people say to me, "Oh, well, do you think I should try to astral travel?" I say to them, "Well, are you ready to really be floating out of your body above your body? You know, and allowing, you know, whatever it is that you're being pulled towards, are you going to go?" Like, you know, and some people, unfortunately, they're already wired to go. So it's like they can actually, through energetic, you know, weapons and you know, things. I mean, the military has so much, you know, weaponry, you know, where, I mean, they could use all different kinds of things, different frequencies. Look what they did with us, messing with the cameras, you know, the voice, the, you know, the mic, all that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, they don't want this to be heard. The Pentagon shut it down, and this was supposed to be disclosed. I mean, when we need that truth out there, and the more people get up and say, yeah, there is definitely something else out there, and it's more than one thing. Like I said, Sasquatch. I mean, it's like, okay, I could take you, Big T, into the middle of the woods, and if you really look well enough, like certain trees don't just bend a certain way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
think about this. There's no man out there in the middle of the night trying to bend a tree. It's all supernatural. It's all like, the energy, and some of them are, interdimensional. They can appear and reappear and disappear. And, like I've had one time an ET actually just manifest right in front of me interdimensionally. Now,
What it look like?
it was a tall gray. It was a
Tall
tall
gray.
gray. Just really looking like a scientific, really huge head. I just it was a sight to see, I should say,
Did they smell?
to lighten it up. But horrifying, dude. I can't even really like give you an exam. It's like just waste. Like, I don't know. It's disgusting.
And
It's
you brought up
vile. It's inhumane what they do.
yeah you
What
brought
was
up
that
something.
question?
You brought up something before that it's becoming more and more popular. Like it like in the sense that the government all of a sudden is going to be releasing unclassified documents about aliens or whatever the word they're using now.
Well,
Not the what?
either the government or people like myself who have enough evidence, you know what I mean, to do
Yeah, yeah,
things with. But I'm not going to pull that evidence out on just any show and show that to anybody. You know what I mean? Because that's how you get in trouble. That you got to be smart. Like, I got to go through it. I got to go through word for word. I mean, like, I got to break it down. So, like, me, I'm in this because I don't want this generation right now to have to go through hardly any of this,
of course.
even though they already are. But we can stop that. We can stop that monotony. We can stop that from happening, hopefully. I mean, or maybe never. They're going to communicate with whoever they feel like they want to communicate with.
And
They don't care your age. They don't care your race. They don't care your color. They don't care about any of that. They don't.
it would be crazy how 2021 everything's race, like aliens were racist. Like, no, we don't want these people, we want those. Or you know what I mean? It would be like the tip of the mountain for 2021. Like, oh no, there's racist aliens now. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, they're laughing at us. They're laughing at us. They're like, we'll show ourselves, but we're not gonna, waste our time too much with you guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know, unless you never know. I mean, if you look at things that are going on in this world today, it's like everything is just so different. It's like there's more weirdos. There's more, like people shooting and killing. There's more. It's almost like they've all been programmed somehow. Like they've all been, put there to do these things. Like,
Almost like the
and
simulation, someone's
by
controlling them.
the enemy. By the enemy. Yeah.
And before I know there
And
was
that's
sirens.
sad.
No, I know. I know there was sirens and stuff going off. Don't worry, it's not the FBI, the government. I just live in a bad neighborhood. It was the sirens from the cops and the ambulances. It was just going
Oh, I'm
crazy.
not worried about it. No, I
I
know
heard,
how New York probably is. It's probably
yeah.
wild as hell right now.
And I
So
live in
how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it?
I try to stay big, bigger than people that don't want to pick up. No, I can hold my own. I went to public school my whole life. But seriously, let's like with the they even like giving out what's that guy's name? Frazier, something Frazier, the Air Force pilot. Like what the hell? I'm smoking this fucking pre-roll. I lost the guy's professor, not professor, Lieutenant Frazier.
Alexandra,
No, it just came out.
Lieutenant
He's in the
Frazier.
yeah, David Favor, something like that. He's the pilot that saw the Tic Tac shape unidentified flying object or whatever they're calling it nowadays. And now once that all came out and everything, all this stuff keeps coming out, then the government's like, yeah, no, we have all this undisclosed documentation of aliens and stuff. Like why now? Like what are they distracting us from? That they're just gonna let us oh yeah, all that stuff we said that wasn't true. No, there are aliens and stuff that we can't explain. Like what's the reasoning that the government is trying
Well,
to
we can explain them. It's just you can't go into a local psychiatrist and sit there and tell them, or a therapist and tell them this type of thing. I mean, they'll look at you like you're crazy.
Yo,
I
I went
mean,
to a
I've met
therapist.
a few.
I went to a therapist for a chick, and I told him everything. I stopped drinking, stopped selling blow, doing drugs, and the guy wanted to commit me to Coney Island Hospital, a drug program. Where I told my friend about this, and they're like, "Yo, once they commit you to the micro program, you're not allowed to leave." I'm like, I'm going to therapy to tell them the truth. What's wrong with me, my life? They go, no. You can't tell them the truth at therapy. You give them little by little. I go, no wonder everyone's fucked up. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I told them the God's honest truth. They try committing me. They're like, no. You give them a little bit at a time. How is therapy working for anyone? You give them what you want to tell. Like it sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. They want to commit me. Someone who stopped doing drugs and drinking by themselves. You know what I mean? Because I told them too much. Fucking therapy. No wonder
It's a choice. It's a choice.
Of course. Well, a lot of things are, but like what you're going through isn't a choice. Getting abducted, fucking probed, like burn marks, like you know what I mean? Like that's not a choice. You know what I mean? All that other stuff I did was a choice, you know?
Oh no, I didn't choose to be taken underneath the military base and
No, that's what I'm
experimented
saying.
on.
That's what I'm saying. It
Oh
wasn't a
yeah,
choice for you. Like all that other stuff that I chose not to do or do. You know what I mean? That is what it is. But you're just trying to live your life, you know?
oh, it's every day. It's something. It's either tech difficulties. It's I find out somebody's dying. It's just because I had a friend that did not believe, and I tell people this all the time. Be careful what you wish for.
Hello?
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Be careful
Yo,
what you wish for.
yeah, there's people out there that want to be abducted. They want to see an alien. Like what? Like, like who the fuck would want that? Like, like you want something shoved up your ass? You can go on Grinder. You don't need to get an alien to probe you. You know what I mean? Like maybe some people would rather be abducted by aliens than come out of the closet to their family. Like, you know what I mean? No one's choosing to get
Yeah,
probed. You know what I'm saying? Is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, no, they're not. I know a couple of people that are really like that are older, and they have been through this. They're in their 60s and they want to talk about it, but they're afraid. You understand? They're a couple, and they've had abductions, and you know all of the above. I mean, this stuff is, I believe, is really a generational curse. I feel like a lot of people, I mean, the part that's the curse is the pain that you go through, you know, and I honestly can't sit here and say that they know that they're hurting us. They might not even know, like they're different than us. They're highly, with technology, they're different. I mean, look at how in 100 years, how far we went in technology.
Yeah, went from a steam car to FaceTiming each other. Like or some shit like something similar to that. With 100 years. But know what? It's like the anal probing is like only like are they gathering our waste to see what we're eating to live or something? Like what's that? I think that part is more like the anal probing is just almost like like a man like showing us up, like owning us. You know what I mean? Like show like dominance, almost like a dog in a way. I don't know, man. Like I think they know they're a higher species, like the way how you said like they
I
can like
don't,
move around.
I don't recall sex or anything sexual with them. I do know a woman that had an actual hysterectomy done in her sleep. Um, she's been on sci-fi. She's been. Her name's Debbie Hewins. She runs a group called Starborn Support out of Maine, and her and her twin sister has had alien abductions, contact. I believe they communicate. I've met people that literally can like summon, like bring, and I believe I have that ability too because I think sometimes I bring them, um, and I don't intentionally do it, but it's like when the vibrations and the energies and the frequencies are all off, sometimes it's disruptive. So what happens is my anger causes me to my head to buzz. Like literally it feels like electricity that's running through my brain. I'm not kidding you. But it's like an electromagnetic type feeling. Like when I first woke up to this, I got up to go grab a beer at the time when I was really having problems. And when I got up, man, I don't know what it was. It felt like it hit me in the back of the head and I fell to the ground and I had to, put myself in a ball because the world, literally everything was spinning. So that was my first, like, that's when they hit me hard enough where I fell. Like, I literally hit the ground. So the energy in our world is real. And I believe that we're all connected. You know what I mean? Like, connecting through each other's consciousness. You know what I mean? Like, we can, like, for instance, sometimes, like, Brian, I'll know when he's going to call. It's weird. Like, I'll know to just pick my phone up because Ryan, you know what I mean? I feel Ryan's going to call. Like, I just feel that energy sometimes, like, or that connection. You know, it's, I learn a lot through, you know, um, universal energy is big. What my higher power shows me. Um, I follow. I just take the day like it is. Whatever happens, happens, and I don't even really look at a clock anymore because it don't really mean anything to me. It's like, so what if it's 3 o'clock? Like it could be a different, you never know. Like that's why I tell people to be careful opening up portals and getting involved with Ouija boards and getting involved with, crystal healing and all this stuff because a lot of new agey stuff gets to, you know, evil stuff too and invokes evil. And, you know, I was for a long time, I was actually possessed at one point for about 2 years. And I
Yep.
mean, everything about me changed. Like, I became a complete crazy. Like, it was like I got pissed off one day because something happened and I just grabbed my television and my Xbox at the time or PlayStation. I can't remember, PS4 or whatever the hell it was. And I walked out into the apartment complex where I lived at the time in Kansas, and I smashed these things. I mean, this thing was inside of me, telling me to do things that I knew. You know, I knew it, but it was like I was fighting a battle, a spiritual battle. And I knew that I was being used at that point. I think that they were really at one point trying to drive me crazy. I think that that's what was going on here. Um, it didn't work because I learned how to turn it off. Um, like if I'm not feeling up to doing a show, I'm not going to do a show
Yeah.
because what good am I if I'm not good to me? You know. Um, so some people are like, oh, well, that's kind of like a little. We want to know. It's kind of not so nice that you do that. And I'm like, well, it's my choice, number one, and it's my life, and it's what I've lived and lived through and continue to deal with. I wouldn't say as much on a regular basis anymore, but I think it's going to become a every like 6 or 7 months.
Well, listen. What are some of the side effects or some of the blowback that have you received from these abductions, or even talking about these abductions? What, like,
What
did
happens?
sorry.
What happens? The effect is you get real bitter inside. Some people, um, they want to talk about it, but they're afraid to talk about it. Um, their anxieties through the roof. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. You're searching on your phone on YouTube, I mean on Facebook, to talk to somebody, and nobody is there to talk to. Now, if I'm up and I see a survivor that's dealing with something, I'll speak with them. I will definitely speak with that individual because I believe in trying to help others just as well as helping myself. And being a ear for these people because some of them just want to talk and get it out. And a lot of times when you talk and you get it out, you feel better because you're finally giving up. You're giving it, you're not giving it all your energy anymore. But this destroyed relationships. This is destroyed, and not only like with other women, but with like family members, and this is drove one of my friends to drink himself to death.
Jesus.
He laughed
Does your
about
family
this
believe
before
you?
he saw it. What's that?
Does your family believe you about the abductions and everything that has happened?
Well, say that again.
Does your family like for the most part do they support you like with whether it's
Oh, my
acting?
mother believes absolutely. My father was murdered when I was 14 years old, so
Jesus Christ. And is that
so
something I'm not trying to
it's that's why I said you really can't go in and talk to a therapist about the things I'm talking to you about right now, but you can find other outlets to do that. And then I use I have a good therapist. Um, she helps me not with this stuff. I don't talk about this stuff. I've never talked about this stuff. She's never asked me. Um, so she stays out of my business, on the outside of what I do, go and see her or whatever, talk about my dad, because I didn't start really having like feelings, and this is weird too because a lot of individuals who have been through these programs, they lose the sense of feeling, like can't, they like have no feeling. Um, some of them, their souls are just torn apart. They're ripped apart because they've been used and abused and then thrown out into the world to just go live life and shut your mouth for 20 years. Don't say anything. No.
but what how do you feel about these billionaires going to space? Do you think it's going to antagonize whatever's out there?
Who? The people that are going insane?
Oh, well, like yeah, the guy Bezos just went into space yesterday. The guy Richard Branson from Virgin Airlines and whatever the brand Virgin.
People are going nutty because they can't handle the 5G. They can't.
The 5G.
There's certain, like, 5G.
Yeah, my friend was
Like,
telling me about that with the microwaves and is it like the 5G like the signal melts almost like a microwave or something like he was saying how it's not good for us.
right. And it also, like, it, I noticed it's, like, supposed to be very high speed or whatever. Um, but I think it's too much. I think it's way too much. Um, because it's higher in these vibrations. Like it's really hiring them, and you know, the higher they get, the more confused people get, the more distraught people get. They just don't. They lose care. They feel like, not to say that the government hasn't screwed us. I don't know how many times. You know, and me personally, I'll never ever get involved with politics again. Um, I was in that direction at one point, but I noticed that once you get the job, other stuff comes along with it. So it's like it's not even worth it. Um,
But with the
Getting my
middle,
story out there, writing the book,
oh, so you're writing a
working
book?
on the book right now. Yeah, I'm working on a book.
You have to get it printed, brother. You have to. You have to get these.
Oh,
That
without a doubt. And then I run another show called Paranormal Witnesses. So if any of the viewers, when this is played, listen, you can either contact me or my CEO, Ralph Williams, at Facebook. And then you can find us through Best TV streaming services on
oh,
YouTube. Or not YouTube. Yeah, it will be on YouTube, but it'll also be airing on like Roku and on
awesome.
demand. And so I'm the host. I was given that position today. It's actually, I'm happy about it because I'm
Congratulations.
going to get to meet more people that, might have similar experiences, or I'm going to let them talk too because I learn a lot from that. You learn a lot when you listen. Like, I've done shows where people cut in, and you just lose your train of thought.
Yeah.
You try to, keep it rolling.
Hey, listening is a skill, and people that can't listen, it's like, yo, you can be not paying attention and listen. You can be laying down and listening. You know what I mean? You listen by accident. When you're a kid, you might hear your parents having sex. You don't want to hear that, but you're hearing it by accident. You know what I mean? It's free to listen, and people still suck at listening. You know what I mean? Like, it drives me nuts, Rocco. Trust me, I know. Like, just all you got to do is listen, man. You get people are giving you information. You know what I mean? All you got to do is listen. The world, the energy. Just listen, take it in. I know that not everything's just hearing.
Universal. Universal. Get into nature. Get into nature. Don't sit in front of the television screen all the time. That's bad. Like, I barely watch television, and documentaries and stuff like that I'll watch because I want to learn. But I mean about like ancient stuff. Like, I don't just dive into my own experiences. I want to go further. I want to find out more truths. I want to, honestly, if you might, get a Bigfoot on camera, or get Junior and Montauk on camera. That would be an interesting thing to see. When it's done, like, and there's a lot of fake stuff out there, and people are listening to those people that are giving them false lot, like lying to them, saying if you donate, we'll do this, you do that. I understand people got to make money, but sometimes they'll be charging and they're not even licensed to charge for counseling or whatever, hypnosis work. And I never got into it really. I did for a while, but I don't know. I was gonna do a session and then it never happened. So what do you think, Big T?